All right. So welcome to the Bio EOC crash course. So basically what this is it is a series of videos that wrap up a bunch of our units that we've already gone over in biology based on the percentage that they are on the actual EOC. So there's a lot of tips on how to answer these specific EOC questions involved. So make sure you have your packet for this session in front of you, the cell. So here are just our learning objectives. These are also found in the back of your packet, so I'm not going to waste the time to go over them right now. But this is all of the grade level expectations that you need to know for the EOC involved with cells. So we're first going to start off with the enzyme. So what enzymes are? All enzymes are proteins that speed up chemical reactions in the body. So they increase the rate of a reaction. Anytime you see enzyme in a question, it's increasing the rate of the reaction. That's what it does. So an example of that is digestion. And some facts are they're binding specific, which means it's kind of like a puzzle. They only bind to the specific spot they're supposed to or they fit into, like over here. They're also not affected by the reaction. An enzyme does not change. It just kind of gets recycled to reuse it in another reaction. It doesn't get used up by the reaction. And it also lowers the energy needed to start the reaction, which in turn increases the rate. So some examples of the EOC questions. Hydrogen peroxide normally breaks down very slowly at room temperature. This is your key. It's telling you very slowly at first that you're probably going to be talking about an enzyme at one point. Lashonda fell down and cut her knee. She put a solution of hydrogen peroxide on the cut, and she noticed that the hydrogen peroxide on the cut started to bubble, but where it was on the skin was unchanged. So what's going on here? So our clue is it's bubbling, so that means a reaction is happening. It already told us that it's very slow normally at room temperature. So what do we think is going on here? Our clue, every single one of these answer choices mentions increasing the rate of the reaction, increasing the rate, increasing the rate, increase the rate. The only thing that increases rates of reaction are enzymes. So even if you have no idea what hydrogen peroxide is, if you see that every single answer choice is mentioning the rate of the reaction and increasing it, your clue is that it's clearly going to be enzymes that they're talking about. Okay, so using the graph to answer this question, enzymes are involved in chemical reactions within cells. The graph shows the results of an investigation of a reaction that occurred in the human body. According to the graph, what increases when the enzyme is present? So even if you don't know how to read the graph, if you know what enzymes increase, you can search your answer choices and see where it is. But let's break down what the graph is about. So we see the time at the bottom, and we're measuring the amount of products that our reaction is making. So without the enzyme, over a long period of time, it's making some of the products. However, with the enzyme, it's over a much shorter period of time, and it's making more products. So this is our clue. Doesn't mention anything about temperature, so we know it's not A. The rate of the reaction, how fast it is going. Absolutely. That is what an enzyme does. It increases the rate of a reaction. All right. You will also notice in your packet that after every section, I go over 2 EOC questions with you, but then there are also another 2 that I want you to try on your own. So then by the time you're done with this review session, you can turn it into me and get some feedback on what you got right or wrong with the questions that you have individual work on. Okay, but moving on, cell differentiation. So basically, if we break down this word, cell different, making different cells in the body. So cells are assigned their different jobs. We have skin cells, brain cells, blood cells, bone cells, all these different cells in our body that have to do a bunch of different things. The only way they're able to do these different things is if they differentiate. So before cell differentiation, all of the cells are identical to each other. They are exactly the same. These are called stem cells. So stem cells can become any type of cell in the body. But the key thing here, down at the bottom, is once cells differentiate, they cannot become a different type of cell. They are now specialized adult body cells. So for example, my skin cells cannot randomly decide, I want to be a heart cell now. That doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. Once you are differentiated, you cannot become a different type of cell. All right, so here's another diagram that is also in your notes if you want to label some of the sections. So we see at first we have our zygote, our fertilized egg. That's all that means. Then mitosis happens. A bunch of cells divide and they become identical cells. Then something triggers it at this stage, and this is where differentiation occurs. So at this point, your cells are different from each other. They can no longer become any type of cell in the body because they've all started to develop their individual jobs. I would go ahead and write this on the diagram if I were you, just to make sure you have that label there. All right, so has it differentiated yet? We have an 8-cell embryo. Keyword is embryo. That is our clue that all of the cells are exactly the same. And we have this lovely looking thing over here. So, key thing with the embryo. Embryo is our key word. These are stem cells. They have not differentiated yet. If we hop over here to this diagram, our clue is that all of the cells don't look the same in the picture. If they don't look the same in the picture, that is our clue that they have developed into different specialized tissues, different types of cells in the body. Okay, so the picture shows an 8-cell stage in the development of a rat embryo. A researcher will compare the proteins found in the cells of the embryo. What results are most likely from this comparison? So our key word again is embryo. All of these cells are identical to each other at this point. So if all the cells are identical to each other, the proteins are going to be very similar to each other. So as we look through this, the proteins are very similar to each other from one cell to the next. Absolutely, that's when you stop reading, because you know that whatever's in one cell is going to be in another one at this stage. Okay, this diagram shows a cross-section of a developing mouse embryo. A single cell is removed at this stage and provided with nutrients. Can this single cell still form a new embryo? Our key thing here, all the cells look different. If they all look different, it's probably because they all are different. So, it cannot form a new embryo because our cells have already differentiated. So we can automatically get rid of A and B because we know that they're different from each other. So hopping down to C and D, let's pick the best choice. Is it because every cell in any mouse embryo is unique and specialized? Well, this actually isn't the best answer because it's not specific enough. D says the cells in the mouse embryo have started to differentiate into specialized tissues. That is absolutely true. They are starting to differentiate at this point. D is our answer. All right, prokaryotes versus eukaryotes. Holla. So, key things here that we want to write down. Both of them have ribosomes, DNA, cytoplasm, and a cell membrane. Every single cell ever has all of these things. If you don't have these things, you are not a cell, you're not alive. So, let's get into our differences though. Also remember, if I'm going too fast, you can pause it at any time to get those notes down. So prokaryotes versus eukaryotes. Prokaryotes are smaller. They are older. They are less complex. Key things are written in the pink. Prokaryotes have no nucleus. No nucleus at all. They also have no membrane-bound organelles, and our example is bacteria. Eukaryotes are larger. They're more complex. They have a nucleus. They have membrane-bound organelles, and our example is plants and animal cells. So the pink is the most important. If you know that, you're going to be good. Make sure you write that down. Okay, cool beans. All right, so, LOL, it already gives you the answer. I forgot the animation, my bad. So this diagram shows a eukaryotic cell. Which part of the cell can be used to determine the cell is eukaryote and not prokaryote? Our key thing here, it does label the ribosomes and the cytoplasm in the cell wall, but the only thing that distinguishes it from a eukaryote or prokaryote is the nucleus. Eukaryote is the only thing that's going to have our nucleus. Okay. Oh my gosh. I suck at the animations clearly. Okay. When comparing the skin cells from a dog to bacterial cells, which observation would be false? So this actually brings in some plant versus animal vocab.